Are you enamored by the spoils of entrepreneurship like I was? Like, are you anxious to do the work to work yourself out of the business and pass the work on to somebody else? Then this episode is for you. I remember very early on in my entrepreneurial career, just for context, like next year in 2025, I will have been in business 10 years, okay, going on a decade. So when I say early on, we're talking about many years ago. But many years ago, I was so pressed about like outsourcing, about delegating, like, because it's one of the perks and benefits of working for yourself, right? Like, you get to choose what you want to do and you get to decide who's going to do it. And so I remember very early on in my business being like, man, I can't wait to get this to somebody else. And I still get excited about that today. But one of the things I had to learn really quickly was how to make a wise decision about delegation. So if you too are enamored by the spoils of entrepreneurship and you're super anxious to pass on many tasks to other people, this episode is for you. Welcome to the Plant Protocol Live with Lisa A. Smith. I am Lisa A. Smith, plant-based health and business coach. I specialize in plant-based health coaching and business coaching, where I help coaches develop profitable coaching businesses. And today's episode is strictly all about delegation. Because let me tell you guys something. In so many instances, I've hired so many people over the years that the way to buy back some of my time was to delegate. And it's true. That is very true on the surface, right? However, there is a strategic and wise way to delegate, and there is an unwise way to delegate. And so, what I really had to learn was how to delegate wisely. So, if you are pressed to reap the benefits of entrepreneurship, reap the benefits of being your own boss, and really passing on a lot of tasks to other people, then you need to hear the three things that I intentionally decided to retain in my business. And it was a decision that came from real time learning. Like, it wasn't something that I was taught, but I had to practice it to know what to keep and what to pass on. And the reason this topic that we're talking about this today is because I just recently was helping a colleague out in her business. So we had a phone call last week. I was helping a colleague and I was asking them about their marketing. So we were talking about the marketing, and she's in a different industry, in a completely different industry. But I was asking her, she was telling me about some things she was thinking about doing to drive more revenue and traffic into her business. And so she was asking my opinion about the best way to do that. And during this conversation, I started asking her about, how often she's talking to her audience with regard to email marketing. We were talking about social media marketing. We were talking about different ways that she is driving traffic into her business. And this topic came up, and I was breaking down to them how I do it, like how our marketing structure is set up inside of our business. And this really got me to thinking about why I chose to market the way I chose, right? And so I want to break that down for you today, because if you're in business for yourself, we know one of the benefits and one of the perks of working for yourself is the autonomy and the freedom to delegate and to outsource. But I have learned over the years what should be and shouldn't be delegated and outsourced. And it makes me think about, when I talk about the perks and the benefits of entrepreneurship, one of the things it makes me think about is a question that I always ask when I do speaking engagements, specifically around business. So if someone books me to speak and instead of talking about health, they want me to talk about business and they want me to talk about entrepreneurship, I always ask the audience one specific question first. And that is, what is the point of running your own business? What is the point of working for yourself? What is the point of having your own? Right. And essentially, I hear the same answers over and over again. I hear the same answers. People say, so you can be your own boss. And people say, like, the point of entrepreneurship and the point of business is so that you don't have to answer to anybody. And people say, so that you can be on your own time, right? And so you can, you can keep most of the money. And I hear these same answers over and over again, right? They're like, the point of this thing is to be independent. So nobody has to tell you what to do. So you can be on your own time schedule. So you can make your own schedule. And I'm like, yo, those are what we call like benefits of the job. Just like the benefit of working for somebody else, because there are benefits for working for other people. Let's be clear. Like it's not all bad to have a job, right? And so there's benefits on both sides. So for example, some of the benefits for working in corporate or working for someone else is going to be something like, somebody helping to cover the cost of your health care. That's like one of the main reasons that people don't want to quit their jobs. They're like, but the health care, right? That's one of the benefits of working for somebody else. Another one of the benefits may be, you don't have as much responsibility, right? It's not as stressful because you're not making all of the big decisions. And so there are definitely perks for working for someone else. And I would say one of the benefits of working for yourself is that you get to delegate some of the work and some of the tasks that maybe you don't enjoy doing, or maybe that you're not that great at. However, the reason I'm making this distinction between benefits versus the reason for doing it is that they are not the same. Like, you don't work for yourself just so you can delegate. It just happens to be a benefit of entrepreneurship, right? You shouldn't work for somebody else just because they're going to provide healthcare. It is one of the benefits of working for someone else, but that shouldn't be the reason you stay in a job you don't like. And so in that same vein, coming over to entrepreneurship, you shouldn't work for yourself just so that you can have time freedom, just so you can have geographic freedom, just so that you can outsource, but it is a benefit. And the reason I'm making that distinction before I tell you guys the 3 things that I decided to not outsource in my business is because I want you to know that delegation is a benefit. But it is not the reason you should work for yourself. You shouldn't start a business and you shouldn't work for yourself just so you can pass work on to other people. It just happens to be, another word for benefit I would say is perk. It just happens to be a perk of the job, right? It just happens. Shout out to Veterans Growing America for putting the notes in the chat. Amen. It just happens to be a perk of the job. So when people raise their hand when I'm doing these talks and I say, what's the point of starting a business? And they say to work for yourself so that you don't have a boss. Being your own boss is a benefit, it's a perk, but it shouldn't be the reason. You start a business, the answer is, like, everybody like on the edge of their seats. Well, what's the real reason, Lisa? Cliffhanger. The reason you start a business is to solve a problem. That means you have identified a problem in the world and you have a solution that has not been presented previously, right? You have a solution, you have an approach, you have a unique approach to solving a problem. You start a business to solve a problem. You just happen to not have a boss. You just happen to have time and geographic and financial freedom. You just happen to be able to delegate the things that you don't love, but it is not the reason you should work for yourself. And that is so important because it helps to put into context the 3 things that I'm about to share with you that I intentionally decided not to outsource in my business. Because what corporate America will lead you to believe and what your 9-to-5 programming will lead you to believe is that when you have things in your business that are recurring, that are a bit tedious, that are time consuming, the very first thing that your 9-to-5 programming will tell you to do is to outsource it. When you have things in your business that are recurring, that are a bit tedious, that are time consuming, our 9-to-5 programming, and even some of our like antiquated entrepreneurial programming, the very first solution the old way of thinking will give you is to get somebody else to do it. Right? What old girls say, get somebody else to do it. Right? And so that's what antiquated or 9-to-5 programming will lead you to believe. Assign that to somebody else. You don't like writing emails? Assign that to somebody else. You don't like posting on social media? Assign that to somebody else. And so that's where our mind goes. We instantly think, and there's a whole book about it. What is it called? Not what, but who. Somebody correct me in the chat. Not how, but who. Like you figure out who's supposed to do it versus trying to figure it out yourself. That's what they tell. Like, that's what so much rhetoric in the entrepreneurial and the business, not what, but who. I can't remember. It's messing me up. Somebody get it for me. But that's what they tell us to do. It's like, don't try and figure out how to do it. Try and figure out who should do it. Right. And so it took years for me to deprogram from that mindset thinking. And I had to strategically decide what to outsource in my business, because there are things that were recurring, that were a bit tedious, that were a bit time consuming, that I thought I should be outsourcing. But after further inspection, after a deeper look, I realized that no, I need to keep doing this myself. And so I'm going to tell you right now what those three things are. So the three things in my coaching business, and again, I've been in business 9 years, it'll be 10 years next year. The three things in my coaching company that I have intentionally decided not to outsource are thank you. I don't know if that's Danielle or Tonda, but thank you. Who, not how. Exactly. That's the name of the book. So there's entire schools of thoughts that tells us stop trying to figure out how to do something and figure out who should do it. Right. And I had to deprogram from that a little bit. And that holds weight, and it's true in some instances. But in the instances that I'm about to share with you, I didn't need to figure out who should do it. I needed to figure out how to do it. Right. And so I just want us to be very careful with thinking that outsourcing in our business is part of the reason we started the business. It's not. You started the business to solve a problem. Outsourcing and delegating is a perk of the business, meaning perks and benefits of the business. You still have to be strategic with how you use them. Right? Like one of the perks of working for somebody else is a 401k, right? You contribute to the 401k and the company contributes to the 401k, but you still have to be strategic about how you use the 401k. We know if you take an early withdrawal before a certain age, it's going to come with a penalty. Everything still requires strategy. So one of the perks of entrepreneurship is delegation and being able to hire and outsource the things that maybe you don't enjoy as much or that are time consuming, but you still have to be strategic about that delegation, right? And so one of the first thing in my coaching business that I've decided intentionally not to outsource are my emails. So our email list, we have thousands of people on our email list. They hear from us multiple times a week, not just one time a week, not one time a month. We don't have like a weekly or a monthly newsletter that's like a template where we just plug and play. No, my audience, thousands of people, hears from me 3 times a week. And when I say hears from me, they hear from me. They hear from Lisa, meaning I'm sitting down and writing emails, right? There was a time in my business though where I thought that this is something that needs to be outsourced, where, email marketing needs to be outsourced because it is recurring. So when something is recurring, that means it's very easy to establish a SOP for it, a standard operating procedure. And that just means like if you work at a company, that's the policy and procedure that goes into the manual. Right? So it's very easy to develop a SOP, a standard operating procedure for something that's recurring. So it's very easy for me to sit down and say, here's kind of the format of our emails. And I could technically get somebody to do it, right? Because I've been doing it for so long, I have a format, so to speak, right? So one is my emails. I decided that I'm not going to outsource my emails, right? The thousands of people that hear from us multiple times a week are hearing directly from me, and I'm deciding to write those myself. The second thing in my coaching company that I decided not to outsource are our social media posts and our captions. So when it comes to social media, I decide what to post and I decide what the caption is going to be on that. Right now, do I have someone? Kiwi does help me with making some of the reels. I do have someone who does some of the editing. Like, we might pull a clip out of this video and post it on social media, right? But the clip is me, right? It's my original content in the clip. So I've decided not to outsource social media, and most importantly, the captions on the social media. Right. I am still writing those years into the game. I am still doing it. And let's be clear. Well, let's talk frequency. We post every day. It's not weekly. It's not when we feel like it. Like a post happens on Lisa Angel Smith Instagram, on Lisa Angel Smith Facebook every single day. So there's a post every single day, which means there has to be thought about what we're going to post and what that caption is going to say. Okay. The third thing in my coaching company that I decided intentionally not to outsource are my presentations and my slide decks. So I'm a speaker, right? So I do a lot of speaking. So in addition to teaching and coaching and podcasting, the other thing that I do quite frequently is speaking. I take stages on a regular basis, right? And so my slide decks and my talks, meaning the subject matter, the titles, the objectives and the intent of my talks, and then the slide deck that goes along with it, if I'm going to use slides in that presentation, all of that is still done by me. Now, I know specifically coaches who don't do all that themselves. Somebody else might do their slides. Somebody else might format their talks. When it comes to social media, so many companies, one of the first things many new entrepreneurs want to do, they're like, can I get somebody else to do my social media? I want to outsource this. I want to outsource this. Same thing with emails. I want to outsource this. I want to outsource this. I see it over and I hear about it over and over again from other entrepreneurs. And I don't think it's a problem. I'm just telling you guys why I have intentionally decided not to outsource our email marketing, our social media, or my talks and my slide decks for my talks. Now, do you guys notice any theme about all three of those things? What do all three of those things have in common? I'll tell you what they have in common. My voice. I have intentionally decided not to outsource things in my business that require my voice. Meaning, I have intentionally decided not to outsource my messaging. When you give someone else the responsibility for writing emails to your audience, when you give somebody else responsibility for posting and writing captions for your audience online, when you give someone else the responsibility for developing your slides and integral parts of your presentations, if you're a speaker, you are giving somebody the responsibility of speaking on your behalf. Me personally, I have no interest at this stage in business. And again, I'm fairly young. We're only about 10 years in. But at this stage, I still think it's exceptionally important for my audience to genuinely hear from me. I have no interest in teaching somebody how to sound like me, partially because the industry that I'm in, which is coaching, is a very intimate career. Coaching is a contact sport. And what that means is that you have to get upfront and in person with your clients and your prospects. So because coaching is a contact sport and you have to get so intimate with your prospects and with your clients, it's important that while you're developing the business, the professional brand, it's exceptionally important that you are developing your personal brand. Your voice is your personal brand. When people enroll in our coaching programs at the Black Health Academy, when they enroll in Farm to Table, when they enroll in the Plant Protocol, when they enroll in our Mastermind Clarity, that is all our coaching programs. And those are all intimate programs that I've developed a curriculum for and that I'm all fully active in. So I want them to know that they're getting the brains behind the operation. But most importantly, the biggest reason why I don't outsource those three things in my business is because when it comes to coaching, when you're inviting somebody to work with you in a program, it is very important that they believe that you know them better than they know themselves, which means when I'm creating emails, when I'm creating social media posts and captions, when I'm creating presentations to speak in front of audiences, the thing that I want to hear the most often above everything else is, oh my God, you're in my head. Oh my God, you're talking to me. You guys have seen this. You've seen this in comments online. This was meant for me, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, right? Get out of my head. Weird emoji face, right? You see this all the time. That's when I hear somebody say, you were talking to me, this was meant for me, you're in my head. I know my messaging is landing. And when my message lands, I've captured them in my ecosystem. When people feel like I understand them better than they understand themselves, or just as well as they understand themselves at the minimum, at the least, then they feel like they're talking to somebody who is relatable. That is so important in business, and that is so important in the coaching industry, that how I refuse to outsource it. It is so important to me that my audience are prospects and clients, because let's be clear. When you create content, when you create emails, you're not just creating emails and content to get new business. You're speaking to your current clients because you want your current clients to stay with you. So sometimes we look at marketing as I'm only marketing for brand new people. But please hear me closely. My current clients watch and read my content just as much as future clients do. And so I need my current clients to even know that I understand them. Sometimes I create content based on the stage of business they're in. Sometimes I create content speaking directly to current clients. Because you have to understand, you're marketing for recurring business just as much as you're marketing for new business. Somebody write that down. messaging, emails, podcasts, captions, talks. You're marketing for recurring business as much as you're marketing for new business. And it is your voice of your behind your business is so important that it is one of the things I would encourage you to strongly consider before you outsource. So the three things in my coaching company that I've intentionally decided not to pass off to somebody else. I've intentionally decided not to exercise this perk in my business. Like I have a team. I've been in business long enough for people to believe in me. They believe in my mission. Like people have been rocking with me for years. Like I'm in a place where I technically can give this to somebody else and they will willingly take it. Especially because we've been creating emails and content and stuff for so long that I also have a library, a portfolio of content that somebody can technically go study and probably grasp my voice pretty well. Where a lot of entrepreneurs go wrong is they haven't created enough in their own voice to even delegate it to somebody. Like, how do you expect anybody to even properly mimic you or sound like you when you haven't even created enough content? If you're going to outsource these three things, at least do it after you've done it for a while, where you actually have a very distinct brand voice. Some of you your brand voice is not even distinct enough to delegate your email marketing, your social media marketing, your slide decks, your podcast. Like, you should still be creating that stuff on your own. But I personally have decided not to outsource it because I'm not interested in teaching someone to sound like me. And you should be sounding like something. Some of us haven't even done the hard work to develop a foundational brand voice and brand identity. And you're trying to outsource social media marketing before you even know what you sound like, before you even know the essence of your own brand. Like, for example, my brand essence, if you will, is not lovey-dovey. All right. Like we don't stroke egos. We don't make you feel like it's okay. Like we over here, like, get this work. Like go eat, like put that nonsense down. Like you need to eat right. Like y'all done seen my stuff. Even when I try and be soft on Instagram, I'd be like, go eat like you got some sense today. Right. It's still gonna be some shade thrown into my, like, the person who writes to me needs to know how to throw shade. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not ready to outsource that because I enjoy throwing shade. Right. And so I need to make sure that my brand voice and my brand essence, right, is coming through. Like you have to have a strong brand voice, a strong brand essence. They have to know your style before they can write for you. Do not give somebody else the responsibility of talking to your audience too soon. Me, I've decided at this stage in business that I don't intend to give it away anytime soon at all. But if you are going to delegate somebody else talking to your people, at least have done the foundational work of establishing your brand voice and your brand essence. Like, because if somebody come over here doing social media or writing captions for us and they say something like, everything in moderation, guys, it's okay. Just like dust yourself off and try again. Like tomorrow's Monday, just start fresh. They're going to be like, who is this? Fraud alert. You feel me? Spam alert. This is a scam. Like, this ain't Lisa Tonkin. She usually yell at us. Like, that's not, you feel me? Like, that's not it. Right. And so I'm not, Kiwi said, call FBI 100%. Like, Lisa don't be giving people passes for not being excellent. Who is this talking? Lisa, I should be getting text messages and everything. Like, is somebody taking out? Have you been hacked? Like, who's talking to us right now? Right. And so I love talking to you guys, but most importantly, it is my responsibility to make sure you know that I know you better than you know yourself. And so I've intentionally decided 10 years into the game not to outsource my email marketing. I don't want anybody else writing our emails. You're going to hear from me. My emails be like, what up? It's me. What y'all doing? My email sound just like me. Like, I do not, it's not all structured. We don't, like, I was just training my team on operations within this first quarter. We've been doing operations training just to make sure it's 5-star. And one of the things I told them is, like, make sure, like, in speaking with clients like that, we leave the corporate speak at the door. Like, don't come in here and corporate speak. Like, look at my emails. My emails is like, what up? My emails be like, get somebody else to do it. Like, my emails be sassy. Okay, I'm sassy, right? Like, I have the degrees. I can do the corporate speak, but that's not my preference. right? And so I'm gonna speak sassy in my emails. I'm gonna be a smart aleck and throw some shade in my Instagram captions, right? I'm gonna be looking at y'all sideways when y'all act like it's too hard to put down that sugar and that dairy and drink the water and exercise and be radically obedient. Like I'm throwing some shade because everybody else give you permission to be mediocre. So I'm gonna come in and give you permission to be excellent, right? And so I'm not interested in outsourcing that, right? And so those things, I don't want to teach somebody else my brand voice. And the best content is always created by acknowledging both the beliefs and the limiting beliefs of the people you're talking to. And so another reason why I'm deciding not to outsource these three things is because I'm the one for the past 10 years. I'm the primary one who's been literally talking to our clients and our prospects. Like all of our coaching programs are application based. So they require application and they require a suitability interview. So do you know where I get all of our content from? Like, do you know where I get this live that I'm doing right now? Like, why did I come on here and decide to talk about what I am and I am not outsourcing? Because I just had a conversation with somebody about it. And I'm like, oh, this is relevant. Other business owners need to hear this. Like I would have never came up with this topic on my own. All of my content comes from working in my business. I do suitability interviews with prospects. I read the applications of our prospects. And most importantly, I'm fully active in all three of our coaching programs. So I'm with my clients on a regular cadence. I know exactly what they're thinking. I know exactly what they're believing and what they're not believing. So that makes it almost seamless and easy for me to come back and write an email. It makes it easy for me to come back and create a live on YouTube every Monday morning. It makes it easy for me to come back and write a caption because I'm in your head, because I'm in your face. And so it makes it so easy to create good content because I've already had the direct conversation. So if I was to outsource this responsibility to somebody else just because it's a perk of entrepreneurship and I don't want to do it in my business anymore because it takes up time, which is a irresponsible way of making decisions in your business, right? Like what's a better time spent than spending it with the people who you want to buy from you or people that have already bought from you? There's no better time spent. Me being on here with you guys right now is the best time spent. Like, why would I give away this? Right? Talking to the reason I'm in business, right? Like, be careful what you outsource. Like, why would I not want to spend time talking to the people, the reason I'm in business? I don't want to outsource this. Like, I want you guys to know this is Lisa's voice. This is Lisa's idea. This is like, it's really me. And I just think we think because we can, we should. We think because we can delegate, because we can't outsource this, we should. You shouldn't. And so the business owner that I was telling you guys about earlier that I was talking to the other day, she has a couple thousand people on her email list and she's not doing email marketing. I'm like, why are you not talking to your people? Like, you got to start talking. They're the reason you're here. Like they've gifted you with their email, which somebody giving you their email is giving you permission. They've gifted you with permission to talk to them. You got to start talking to them, and nobody else should be writing that for you. You should be writing that, right? And so it is so important that you guys use wisdom when you're making decisions in your business about what should and shouldn't be outsourced and delegated. I'm the talent. I'm the gift, right? And it's not just me. Like, what I create can live without me. But what I'm saying is, because I'm in the coaching industry specifically, I've specifically coached literally hundreds of people in the last decade, probably thousands, honestly, in the last decade. And therefore, I know exactly what they're thinking. I know exactly what they believe, and I know exactly what their limiting beliefs are. And all I do so that I can hear you guys say, oh my God, you're in my head. Oh my God, you're talking to me. All I do is take everything you guys tell me privately and make content about it. That's exactly what we teach our coaches to do in the plant protocol. They'd be like, Lisa, I don't know what to post. I don't know what to talk about. I'm like, here's a whole template for you. All you have to do is take the objections and the limiting beliefs that people are expressing to you privately and make public content about it. That's it. You don't reveal the identity of anybody. You don't intrude or invade in anybody's privacy. But I can almost guarantee you, if somebody's privately thinking something, there's 10 other people who are thinking the exact same thing. That's what you should be talking about. It's that simple. It's that simple, right? And so the goal is to get so good that your prospects and your current clients believe that you're talking directly to them. And 9 times out of 10, you are, because they've expressed something to you privately, and you're going to go on and share your perspective on that publicly. It doesn't mean your perspective is right or wrong. Like, for example, I had a conversation with this business owner the other day who, up until this point, had either been delegating, messaging to their audience or not doing it at all. And I told them, well, I don't delegate those tasks. It doesn't mean I'm right or wrong. It's just my personal choice. So the point of coming on here and creating content and talking to you guys about this is to give you my perspective on delegating these 3 things. It doesn't mean I'm right, but I want to tell you why I made the choice I made. And that's the exact same thing that I need you guys to. I want us as entrepreneurs and as business owners to become more wise and use more wisdom when we're when we're exercising the perks of our business. Don't confuse perks with the reason your business exists. You don't start a business to work for yourself. You don't start a business to make money. You don't start a business so that you can be your own boss and nobody tells you what to do. You start a business for one reason and one reason only, and that's to solve a problem. If you have not identified a problem in the world that needs to be solved in a unique way in which nobody else has solved it, then you should not have a business. You only start a business to solve a problem. You do not start a business just so you can take a whole bunch of tasks and assign them to somebody else. Be careful how you exercise the perks in your business as an entrepreneur. Because I too was coming from the corporate space, and I too was listening to business experts and everything early on. And I really thought if something happens repeatedly and often and takes up time, I should give it to somebody else. Not true. We send out a minimum of 3 emails a week. We post on social media every single day, and I'm booked to speak all the time. I have to speak in 2 days. On Thursday night, I'm speaking for a church out of New York, right? And they heard me speak last month, and they were in the audience when I spoke last month, and they reached out to me, and they're like, we want you to do for us exactly what you did for that company, for that organization. Can you come do the exact same thing for us? I'm like, absolutely I can, because the slide's already done. Don't mess around and make my job easier. 100% I can do exactly for you what I did for them, right? But the reason what I did for the first organization landed so beautifully is because it was all my ideation. I took the time to get to know the audience through the organizer. I'm like, what do your people need? Kind of give me a gist of what they're struggling with. And we had a nice little conversation via Zoom. And I was able to put together a fire presentation for them. The presentation was so fire that people in the audience started reaching out to me immediately, and one of those people wanted to know, can I come speak for their church out of New York the same way I did for this other organization? Your own messaging and your own voice will land you way more opportunities than you just outsourcing this stuff. Be very careful how you delegate certain things in your business. And my messaging and my voice, I'm not doing it. So let's get to the Lisa-ism of the day. I don't know if I did a Lisa-ism last week. Did we do a Lisa-ism last week? I can't remember. But one of the things I've heard over my career and that I still hear fairly often is that, matter of fact, a couple of people just said it this week, you're always in my head. You're always in my head. So I decided to give you guys some takeaways that can stay in your head. Kiwi said you missed it. Okay. I think the Lisa-ism for last week is just going to be hashtag made you look. Kiwi came up with that one, which I love. So let's just keep it. Okay. So I think for this week, what I want to say, first thing I want to say is don't be in such a hurry to do less that you compromise your personal and professional brand. Okay. So don't be in such a hurry in your business. If you're an entrepreneur watching this, don't be in such a hurry to do less. Sometimes we're we're trying to run full speed ahead to as much time freedom as possible, but just be very careful with that. So don't be in such a hurry to do less that you compromise your personal and professional brand. You have to earn the right to do less. You have to earn the right to do less. When you're establishing your brand voice and establishing who your client is and getting to know your client, it's extremely important that you do more before you get to do less, which means you have to create more content. You have to talk to your people more. You have to have way more private conversations. You need to coach more people. You need to get more clients. You need to have a plethora. You have to go through a plethora of iterations of your offer before your voice is solid in your company. So just be very careful with trying to do less. So being so pressed about doing less that you compromise your personal brand and your professional brand. And so I think to piggyback off of that, the Lisa-ism for today is, if you're going to be in a hurry, be in a hurry to do good. If you're going to be in a hurry, be in a hurry to get good. And getting good requires you to do more, not less. So if we're going to rush through business, like, because I'm not going anywhere. It's so funny when I get clients who go through, fill out applications for our programs, and for whatever reason, they're not ready to move forward. I'm so unfazed by it because I'm like, oh, you'll be back and I'll be here. I'm not going anywhere. Like we're 10 years in. Like I was just telling I think my mom last week or 2 weeks ago, I was like, I've never really celebrated being in business, but I think I want to make 10 years a big deal. Right. So I was telling her, like, you or somebody else on the team needs to put together like a 10-year anniversary party next year in 2025. Because I don't celebrate much, but I think I want to celebrate that. Just because we've surpassed all the statistics, right? All the stats that say most business owners don't make it past the 3-year mark, past the 5-year mark. And so I think I want to celebrate that, and I've done a lot over these 10 years. And I think getting good has been one of the things that I'm most proud of, right? And so if you're going to be in a hurry, be in a hurry to get good. And getting good requires you to do more, not less. So what are you getting good at, right? You're getting good at messaging. You're getting good at knowing your prospects better than they know themselves. You're getting good at understanding that marketing is not just about getting new clients, but it's about keeping the ones you have. So when you're creating content, you're not just talking to future clients, you're talking to current clients as well. Like my clients still listen to my podcast. They still watch my social media. They come on my lives, and they will literally come into then our coaching sessions and be like, Lisa, when you said this on your reel last week, right? And I'm like, oh, yes, it's working, right? Because our goal is to not just create new clients, but recurring clients. We want our people to be with us as long as possible, as long as we have something to serve and something to give and a problem to solve for them, right? And so that is what you want to be in a hurry to do. Stop being in such a hurry to buy back your time that you compromise your personal and professional brand. Right. Kiwi said, done. Hey, shout out to the team. So we're going to have a 10-year anniversary party next year. Y'all, I'm going to do it in person and everything. I'm making a big deal. Put on me a tight dress and some pumps and show out. You feel me? Because it's something we should be proud of. And a therapist told me years ago that I need to start pausing and celebrating, blah, blah, blah. So here we are. And so that is my take. That is what I have for you today. The 3 things that I've intentionally decided not to outsource in my business, even though all of the business gurus and the experts and even my 9-to-5 programming would tell me, like, why are you spending time doing this? You can give this to somebody else. And I'm like, nah, I think I'm going to continue to talk to my people on my own. I think I want them to hear from me. And I'm the source of the information. Like, I know exactly what to say to them because I'm having private conversations with them. So why insert a middleman into that? Like, why try and tell somebody else what to say to my audience? Because they're not having the private conversations with my audience. So it's more challenging for them to develop content and messaging for my audience. So if you're having the private conversations with your people, then just be responsible for talking to your people, regardless of it being a seemingly redundant task. You have no idea how much nurturing your audience, how valuable that is. So there's no way that I'm going to look at this as my time not being well spent. My time with you guys is always time well spent, right? Because first and foremost, before we even talk about a sale or getting business, I want to add value. I want to add value. Like, I want you guys to evict that everything in moderation mindset. I want you guys to evict the spirit of mediocrity. And so because I lead with a spirit of excellence and because I believe in going all out, right, I want you guys to have that same mindset. And so I'm going to spend time with you guys to make sure you're great, whether that's in your health or in your business. I want to make sure you're great. And so I'm deciding not to outsource my messaging because I think I do it the best. And whatever you do the best in your business, you should be doing, regardless if it seems like a menial task. Right? Whatever you do the best at in your business, you should be doing. And communication is my jam, right? Talking and writing and speaking is my jam. And so I'm going to continue to do that. Even though it seems to take up a lot of time. Let me see. Kiwi says shoulders out. Amen. Put that on the to-do list. Find Lisa a shoulderless dress for 2025 for the 10-year Annie. You feel me? Absolutely. They'll be super sassy. and loving every minute of it. So I hope this was helpful for the entrepreneurs in the room who have been kind of enamored by entrepreneurship and super pressed to have a team and super pressed to get somebody else to do it. Right? We need to insert that little clip in here, Kiwi, where that lady be like, get somebody else to do it, right? But for those of you who have been super pressed to get somebody else to do it, I'm not saying I'm right about deciding what to keep in my business, but what I am saying is that I want you to use wisdom when you are deciding what to delegate, as opposed to delegating for delegation's sake. Like, make sure you're not delegating because you're lazy. Okay. Make sure you're not delegating because you're lazy, right? But make sure you're really thinking about, like, what am I passing on, right? I'm giving somebody else the responsibility to talk to and nurture my people. Do I have full faith that they're able to do that and retain my audience? Do I have full faith that my people will come back next week and listen to the next episode, come back to my next talk, read my next social media post, open my next email? Like, if I'm going to outsource my voice and my messaging, do I have full faith that the person I'm giving it to, right, can get the same results or better that I've been able to get when I was speaking in first person? Okay, so just use more wisdom when you guys are delegating. That's all I have for you guys today. What was the Lisa-ism? If you're going to be in a hurry to get good. Okay, and getting good requires you to do more and not less. Yay. I hope this was helpful, guys. If it was super helpful, I would love if you would do me a favor. So, I'm super new to YouTube. Kiwi has me on a strong IG and Facebook restriction, so I can't go live over there anymore. Right. So, because I've outsourced me becoming a public figure to somebody else. And so I have to listen to her instruction. And so I'm here on YouTube now, live every Monday. If you guys could just hit the subscribe button for me, so that we can get our audience up, so that we can impact more people, so we can have a broader reach. I would appreciate it so much. I'm going to do my part and show up here every week. And we might increase that frequency as time goes on. But right now, it's going to be every Monday. I'll be live here speaking health, speaking business, and kind of marrying the marriage between health and business for me has been so integral. It's so crazy. Like, as my health has improved over the years, so has my business. Like, I don't think it is a coincidence that they've kind of followed each other. So, like, as I've gotten more embedded into my plant-based lifestyle and into my mindfulness and all of that, like, as my physical, mental, and emotional health has improved, so has my business. And so my goal here is to kind of just take you guys on that journey and marry those two together, so you guys better understand the impact physical, mental, and emotional health has on the health of your business. And this is really a full circle moment. And maybe I'll save this for my 10-year anniversary speech. But my very first company that I started in 2015, Professionally Fit, I started off in that same vein. It was me literally helping CEOs, entrepreneurs, C-level suite people improve their health so they can improve their bottom line in their business. And so I'm still talking that talk almost 10 years later, which I think is super cool. And so just marrying how, like, the health of you, how that impacts the health of your business is so super important. Everything from physical health to emotional intelligence and mental health. Like, your mental health can completely destroy your business if you're not whole. And so that's the kind of things we'll be marrying together on this platform as we move forward on YouTube. Whole different monster. So anyway, I said all that to say, please subscribe. I appreciate it so much if you guys do. And I will see you guys back here next Monday. Shout out. I ain't got shoulders off to you there, but I can roll them. You feel me? Until next time. Bye, guys. Thank you, Melissa. Already subscribed. Bye, guys.